I never thought the woman I loved would turn into my accuser. My name is Adam. I'm 35, and until recently, I believed I was building a life with a woman who truly cared about me. Her name is Melissa. She was radiant when we met. Charming, sharp, and full of warmth that seemed to pull me out of the shell I had built after a rough breakup years earlier. For a while, I thought she was different. I thought she was the one. But somewhere along the line, that warmth started to curdle into something else. Entitlement, demands, and an obsession with money I didn't see at first. It started small. A comment about how her friend's boyfriend surprised her with designer bags. A sigh when I suggested we eat at a little family diner instead of a high-end restaurant. I brushed it off, convincing myself it was harmless. Then came the bigger things. Melissa wanted a new car. Not just any car, but a luxury SUV. When I hesitated, she rolled her eyes and said, "Adam, it's not about the money. It's about showing you can provide." I stretched myself thin to make it happen, even though it meant tapping into savings I'd carefully built for years. The gratitude I expected never came. Instead, it opened the door for more. Vacation she demanded, jewelry she deserved, and finally her latest ultimatum, a massive down payment for the condo she had her eye on. That's when I drew the line. I told her no, calmly, firmly, and without apology. "Melissa, I'm not draining my future to pay for something we don't need. If we're going to buy a home, it's going to be because we can both afford it, not because you want bragging rights." Her reaction stunned me. She went pale, then red, trembling with rage. "You're refusing me," she shrieked. "After everything I've given you?" I stayed quiet, letting her words bounce off me. But then she did something I'll never forget. She grabbed her phone, dialed a number with shaky hands, and screamed so loudly I thought the neighbors could hear. "He hit me. I'm calling the police. He attacked me because I asked for help with the condo." I stood frozen, my blood running cold. I hadn't laid a finger on her. I hadn't even raised my voice. But suddenly, I was staring at a woman who was willing to destroy my life just because I refused to pay. The moment the words left her mouth, my stomach dropped. False accusations aren't just dangerous. They can ruin a man's career, reputation, and future in seconds. Melissa knew exactly what she was doing. Her face twisted into a performance, her voice shrill and trembling like she was auditioning for an Oscar. "Officer, please hurry. He's dangerous," she wailed into the phone. I couldn't believe it. I had been nothing but loyal to her, working extra hours, giving more than I could afford, bending to her every demand. And now this? A fabricated assault, just to manipulate me into submission. I stood frozen, trying to gather my thoughts. Then instinct kicked in. I pulled out my own phone and hit record. Calmly, I said loud enough for her to hear, "Melissa, you need to stop lying. I haven't touched you. You're making a false police report, and I'm documenting everything." Her eyes widened when she saw the red recording light, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. She clutched her arm like I had grabbed it, gasping dramatically. "You're hurting me right now," she shouted. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. "Melissa, I'm standing 3 feet away from you," I said, panning the camera to show the distance between us. "You're trying to frame me." That's when the panic set in for her. She realized her plan wasn't foolproof. The police wouldn't just take her word. They'd see the footage, the lack of evidence, the fact that I had been calm the entire time. Still, she held on to the act like her life depended on it. 10 minutes later, the knock came at the door. My heart raced as I opened it to find 2 officers standing there, stern and alert. Melissa immediately lunged forward, crocodile tears streaming, pointing at me like I was a monster. "He hit me. He threatened me," she cried. The officers looked at me, their hands hovering near their belts, and asked me to step aside. My voice shook, but I kept it steady. "Officers, I have everything recorded. I never touched her. Please, look at this before you decide anything." I played the video for them, showing my calm words, the distance between us, and her fake sobbing. Slowly, their expressions changed. The tension in the room shifted. One officer turned to Melissa and asked flatly, "Ma'am, is there a reason you're making a false report?" Her face went white. She stammered, looking at me, then back at them. For the first time, the power wasn't in her hands anymore. That Melissa's act crumbled the second the officers pressed her. "Ma'am, making a false police report is a crime." One of them said firmly, "We could arrest you right now." Her tears dried up instantly. The dramatic quiver in her voice vanished. I just got upset," she muttered, her voice small now, nothing like the shrill performance from minutes before. I stood there, arms crossed, exhaustion washing over me. I had loved this woman, planned to marry her, dreamed of a life together, and now I was staring at someone who had no problem trying to destroy me just to get her way. The officers pulled me aside and quietly said, "We can file a report against her if you want. At the very least, you should reconsider being in this situation." I nodded, grateful that they saw the truth. "No charges tonight," I said, "but thank you for clearing this up." Melissa looked at me with wide, desperate eyes as the officers left. "Ethan, please." "I didn't mean it. I was just angry." "Don't leave me," she pleaded, stepping forward, her hands outstretched. I shook my head. "You accused me of hitting you, Melissa. You were willing to send me to jail, ruin my life, just because I wouldn't hand over my wallet. There's no coming back from that." Her face twisted again, but this time it wasn't fear, it was rage. "You'll regret this. No one will ever believe you over me," she spat, but her voice cracked with the weight of her own collapse. I didn't argue. I simply walked to the bedroom, grabbed my overnight bag, and packed what little I had there. With every zipper pulled shut, it felt like another chain breaking free. By the time I reached the door, Melissa was sitting on the floor, sobbing into her hands, but I didn't look back. That night, I checked into a cheap motel and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone. Dozens of messages buzzed through, half apologies, half threats. I deleted them all. The next morning, I met with a lawyer. By the end of the week, the engagement was legally dissolved. I returned the ring to the jeweler, cut all contact, and blocked her on every platform. Months later, I ran into one of the officers from that night. He clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Good to see you looking better. You dodged a bullet there, son." He was right. I did. And as painful as it was to lose the future I thought I had, I gained something far more valuable: peace, freedom, and the unshakable knowledge that I'd never let anyone hold that kind of power over me again.